Hello and welcome to the seventh edition of Football Heaven 24/7 with me, your host Jamie Carter again. Today I'm rocking a Man City home shirt from this season. Um, it was a great weekend. What can I say about the weekend? Obviously, we're going to focus on the Premier League first in this one. Manchester City still sit at the top on 69 points. Liverpool are still in second with 66. Chelsea won yesterday against Newcastle 1-0. A great goal by Kai Havertz. Took it down brilliantly inside the box from a long pass, I think from Marcus Alonso it was. And he took it on the foot and literally from about less than 6 yards, about 6 yards out, he just popped it to the side of the goalkeeper. Now, Newcastle played fantastic in that game. They did a great. They showed how good they've become in the last sort of 9 games. They were on 9 games undefeated going into that. Um, they just closed down the hell of a lot. They did so much great work. They were really fighting for each other. Noticed a massive, massive improvement in that team since Eddie Howe took over. Of course, spending 90 million on several new players will help. Definitely. But yeah, he's doing a fantastic job. Anyway, let's look at the league table. Like I say, Manchester City are atop on 69 points. Liverpool are second with 66. Chelsea have got 59. Arsenal won again yesterday. They won 2-0 at home to Leicester, and they started to play some fantastic football now. Bearing in mind that Arsenal have got 3 games in hand over the two teams behind them on 50 points and 48 points respectively. Manchester United in fifth, and then West Ham in sixth. Wolves had a good win away at Everton, a relegation threatened at the moment. They won 1-0, and they're playing some really good stuff. They're sat in seventh. Tottenham got absolutely owned by Ronaldo. They did play a good game, to be fair, but when Ronaldo's on that kind of form, no one's got a chance. And we know that. To look at him, he's a 37-year-old man, I believe. To be playing at that level, to be scoring a hat trick against a team that was in the Champions League final, no less than like 3 years ago, is pretty damn impressive. But anyway, tonight, one of tonight's games, the main feature game, I mentioned it in the preview in the last episode, is Crystal Palace against Manchester City. Now, if Manchester City win that tonight, they go 6 points clear again, but Liverpool still have a game in hand on them. So technically, Liverpool win their game in hand. They're only ever 3 points behind Manchester City. And Manchester City have got to play Liverpool at home on April the 10th, which is in basically less than a month's time. So then we'll get to see and decide where the title might end up going. But there's still a lot of games to play for. Both teams have still got to play another 10 games each. But obviously it's between them for the title, as we're all aware. Down the bottom, it got very, very tasty this week at weekend just gone. As I say, Everton lost their crucial game that they had kind of win. It was a 6-pointer against Wolves, but Wolves narrowly beat them 1-0. Everton had their chances, but they got booed off at the end, and Frank Lampard said that quite rightly they should be booed off after that game, and he can understand why. But I think with a run in for Everton, they've got to play all the top 6 teams in the next sort of 8 or 9 games. I think they're really going to struggle. It's getting very tight. At Watford was the shock of the weekend, I would say, winning 2-1 away at Southampton. Southampton had been on a great run, apart from losing to Aston Villa 4-0, obviously. But Watford won that game, and it's given them a really big chance now because they're level on points with Everton on 22 points to Everton's 22. The only difference is Everton's got 3 games in hand on Watford. And then you've got Burnley that are just underneath Watford in 19th position. They've got 21 points. But they've got like 2 games in hand on Watford and 1 game in hand on Everton. So it's going to get very, very tight down there. But I believe that it's a fight now between Leeds, Everton, Watford, Burnley, and Norwich to the bitter end. Well, Norwich, I think, are down, unfortunately, because my mate supports them. But definitely Burnley, Watford, Everton, and Leeds are going to be fighting it out now for the next sort of 10 to 12 games, however many they've got each. Going to be very, very interesting. It's getting very, very exciting at that end of the table. West Ham had a fantastic win against Aston Villa at home, they won 2-1. And goals from Yarmolenko, the Ukrainian lad, and from Fornals. And then Jacob Ramsey got a goal back for Aston Villa towards the end on the 90th minute. But in that game, it looked quite level, but it didn't look like it was doing much, to be fair. And then those goals went in the sort of last 20 minutes of the game, all those 3 goals. And that's the difference with West Ham this season. Same as last season. The games that would have got away from them, or they may have lost narrowly 1-0 or just ended up drawing, they're actually starting to get goals out of somewhere, even without a recognised striker, because people forget Mikel Antonio, the guy that normally gets quite a few goals from in the season. Well, he gets about 8 to sort of, I don't know, 15 goals a season from over the last few seasons. He was a left winger from Forest, and he was an out and out left winger, and then they moved him to the centre, and he started doing stuff. I mean, that was good management by Moyes to do that, really. But yeah, West Ham, I'm impressed with how they keep going. Yarmolenko got man of the match. He scored a great goal. He took it down perfectly and in one go, and literally sort of side-footed sliced it into the bottom corner. Keeper had no chance really because he did it so quickly. The keeper was like, like they say, clutching at straws. So yeah, they had a great, fantastic win for West Ham. That kept them in 6th place. Also, just looking at all the other teams, mentioned obviously Manchester United beating Tottenham 3-2. Ronaldo scored a great hat-trick. Spurs came back in that game twice. Ronaldo's first goal was absolutely unbelievable. He smashed it from about 35 yards out. Lloris had no chance. He was just standing there. He didn't know what the hell to do. Down the bottom, there was a potential 6-pointer in a way, but Brentford won it. Brentford against Burnley. Brentford won that with 2 late goals from Ivan Toney, who used to play for my beloved Scunthorpe United years ago. I remember when he played for us in the League One playoffs, I think it was back in 2016-17, I think, or 17. To see how far he's come in 4 or 5 years is absolutely insane. But there we go. He's a great striker, and I've got no doubts that Brentford will be in the Premier League now next season. And maybe they'll go from strength to strength. Who knows? I don't know if Eriksen will stay beyond this season. I should suspect the way that he's contributing that they'll give him another contract for next season. But they're doing fantastic. Brentford have taken a hell of a lot of people by surprise. They've just played fantastic beyond what people expected. So that's what's going on with all the Premier League games. There was Leeds United against Norwich, and that was obviously a relegation battle. Leeds, it was a crazy game. Leeds scored early on the 14th minute through Rodrigo, and they went in 1-0 at half time. But then there was 2 goals in injury time right at the end of the second half. Norwich looked like they'd got a point when McLean scored on the 91st minute. But then Gail Hart scored, the young 19-year-old lad, came on, and he scored in the 90th minute. And it was a great little cross. Rafinha rounded the goalkeeper, and he just put it back into the middle of the 18-yard box. Gail Hart was just there to smash it in on the 94th minute, and fans went absolutely mental to I Predict a Riot by the Kaiser Chiefs, obviously Leeds United fans. But yeah, it's fantastic. So it's great. And I'm aware that I say fantastic a lot as well on these episodes, which is pretty mad. So that was that game. And then obviously the other game that was obviously part of the title race, Liverpool winning 2-0 away in the early kick-off against Brighton. Goal from Diaz on 19 minutes and Salah on 61 minutes. So that was great for them. But yeah, I would say looking at the table now, as I said earlier, Manchester City, Liverpool, they're going to be fighting out for the title. Chelsea and Arsenal are going to be fighting it out. Chelsea's got 59 points, but Arsenal's behind them by 8 points, but they've got 2 games in hand on them. So I think Arsenal probably win those 2 games in hand. Or maybe not. I think they've got to play Liverpool on Wednesday. Yeah, I predicted 2-0, so they might not win that one in hand. So I would say Chelsea will take 3rd, Arsenal take 4th, Manchester United are going to be in the Europa League, and I'd say West Ham and Wolves are going to be fighting it out to the end for that last Europa League place. So that'll be interesting. I cannot see Spurs gate crashing into the Europa League. I think it's going to be a bit of a mediocre season for him. Whether Conte will stay for Spurs next season, no idea. But we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, I'm going to slip into the lower leagues because that's enough on the Premier League. But as I say, it's Crystal Palace against Manchester City tonight. But I already did a prediction on that. I said 3-1 to Manchester City. But going into like the midweek games, we're going into the Championship, as I said. So basically, in the Championship, Fulham are still top with 77 points. You've got Bournemouth that are 2 games behind them on 65 points in second. And then in the playoffs, it's Huddersfield, QPR, Blackburn, and Sheffield United occupying them. Just outside the playoffs, in 7th, 8th, and 9th, is Luton, Middlesbrough, and Nottingham Forest. Fulham were playing against Barnsley, who are right down the relegation zone, and Barnsley are, well, all 3 of those teams at the bottom, they've still got a chance of getting out of it with about 10 games to go, each of them. You've got Reading that's on 29 points just outside the relegation zone. Then you've got Barnsley just in the relegation zone on 25. Derby's on 24 points and Peterborough's on 23. Now, all of them are only 6 points maximum away from getting out of that. So it's going to be very, very interesting. Well, between sort of 4 to 6 points, should I say. So it's going to be interesting. But like looking at the scores in that, Bournemouth won their game 2-0. Barnsley drew 1-1 at home to Fulham, which was fantastic for that to happen. There was a few other key games in there. QPR, they'd fallen out of the playoffs going into the Sunday games. And they were away at Luton. Luton were already in the playoffs now. They had to win that to get back in there. And they went 1-0 behind. Cameron Jerome scored for Luton. But then an Andre Gray penalty and a goal from Dickey on the 83rd minute meant that QPR won that game and they went back into 4th place in the playoffs. So as I said earlier, Huddersfield, QPR, Blackburn and Sheffield United are still in the playoffs. Blackburn are on a bit of an awful run at the moment, but they've managed to stay in there because of their good early season form. Sheffield United got absolutely hammered by Coventry City. That was a bit of a surprise. And Coventry City have sort of moved back in contention for the playoffs. They're only 3 points off the playoffs now. So absolutely smashed them 4-1. And then looking at some of the other games, Peterborough down the bottom, they were playing Stoke. I thought Stoke would beat them, but that was a 2-2 draw between Peterborough and Stoke. Other games of some significance in that league. Huddersfield were trying to get into second, and they looked like they were going to do it on Friday night. They went 2-0 ahead at 2 goals from Ward, but then within like a sort of a minute and a half spell in the second half, about 5 minutes before the end, or 6 minutes before the end even, Ahern Grant, I can't even say it properly, he scored a penalty on the 84th minute, and Andy Carroll scored a goal on the 85th minute. Andy Carroll's on loan at West Brom at the moment. He was at Reading before. But he seems to be doing all right at that level. He seems to be popping up with the odd goal here and there. I think they'll be happy with him as long as he gets several goals a season, whatever his loan situations are. He's still very, very much an aerial threat in the Championship level. You know, he was all right in Premier League level, but he just had a lot of injuries, as we know, at Newcastle and West Ham. So looking around the Championship, yeah, there's great games in there. There was a few 0-0ers in there, pretty boring games. Birmingham and Hull had a 0-0 draw. Forest absolutely smashed Reading, who are, like I say, just outside the relegation zone at the moment. They're only 4 points clear, with the same amount of games played as Barnsley. Forest absolutely smashed them 4-0. 2 goals from Keenan Davis. Ryan Yates scored, and Sam Surridge, a new signing for them. Well, Keenan Davis and Surridge are both new signings for Forest. On loan, I believe. And then anyway, we're looking at into League One now. Rotherham is still at the top. They've got 77 points. Wigan have got 73 points in second. They had a crucial game really in some ways against MK Dons away, I believe, yeah. And they went 1-0 up, but then MK Dons in mossy fashion came back 2 minutes before the end to make that 1-1. A couple of other games just outside the playoffs in League One. Ipswich drew 0-0 with Portsmouth. Also, Sheffield Wednesday absolutely tonked Cambridge United 6-0. Sado Moreno scored a hat-trick for the first time in 6 years, as a lot people might remember, Sadio Burano was a great player when he was about 20, sort of 1920. He burst onto the scene in the Premier League. I believe he scored something like 14 or 15 goals in his first season in the Premier League with West Bromwich Albion. But then he started to tail off, had a few injuries, lost a bit of form. He went abroad for a little while, and now Sheffield Wednesday have brought him back. He was playing for a Belgian club, and he seems to be getting back into it. Maybe, well, hopefully for Wednesday, it'll be a start of them pushing into the playoffs. They're literally just outside the playoffs with 1 point away on 64 points. In the playoffs for the League One, it's MK Dons, Oxford United, Sunderland, and Plymouth. They're occupying the playoff places. But as I say, I just fancy Sheffield Wednesday to sneak in there. They've been getting some fantastic results, bar the losing to Lincoln City a couple of games ago. But apart from that, they've been absolutely killing it in that league. I still fancy Rotherham and Wigan to go up into the Championship. And as I say, I would most likely say it'll be a final between Sheffield Wednesday and possibly, don't like to say it, but possibly MK Dons or Sunderland will be in that final. But I still think Sheffield Wednesday will win it and get into the Championship. Anyway, shifting on to actually, looking at the League One relegation situation, there was a crucial game between AFC Wimbledon, who were just outside the relegation zone in League One. They was playing at home to Lincoln City. Lincoln City won that one 2-0 to put a bit of space between them and the relegation zone. Lincoln City are now 8 points clear of the relegation zone in, I believe, 16th place. I don't think they're going to get drawn into that. In the bottom places, the bottom four places in the League One relegation zone, it's Gillingham, Morecambe, Doncaster Rovers, and Crewe Alexandra. Crewe Alexandra, they're all but gone. They're on 25 points. They're literally 8 points from safety. I can't see them. They did quite bravely against Sunderland. They managed to hold out for a long time until Sunderland got 2 goals in the last sort of, I believe it was 6 minutes of the game. So that was a bit worrying. There's a few teams down there. I would have to say, logically, I would have to say probably, looking at it all, Gillingham had a good win at Doncaster. They won 1-0. I think Gillingham will just sneak out of there. I think that Fleetwood will drop down into the relegation zone with Morecambe, Doncaster, and Crewe. I think they'll all go down together. Anyway, I'm going to shift on to League Two. I'll leave it to the last so I don't get too sad about it all. But my beloved Scunthorpe we're pretty much dead and buried now. We're 9 points. Well, no more than 9 points. We're 10 points off safety. Stevenage, I believe, lost 2-0 to Newport, who were flying, and they're in the third place in League One in one of the automatic promotion places. But Scunthorpe, they were doing well. They were winning 1-0 in a crucial game against Colchester, who sort of were still a little bit near the relegation zone. But well, they're 8 points clear now. But there was only 6 points at the start of the day. 5 points even. But we went 1-0 up through Nuttall, but then, unfortunately, one of our players got sent off on the 35th minute, and Colchester United came back and won 3-1 with 3 goals in the second half in a 16-minute spell. So, usual, same old story, really. But pretty shocking, as I've said on the previous episodes, it's the worst team we've ever had. We've scored 25 goals all season in 36 games, and we've let in 62 goals, which is pretty damn poor, to be fair. We've got 10 more games to save ourselves, but I just really can't see it. They're playing Barrow on Tuesday night, but who knows what will happen. Another team that's on fantastic form with Joey Barton is Bristol Rovers. They won 3-0 at home to Harrogate at the weekend. Aaron Collins, who used to play for Newport County, and I believe he played for Forest Green as well in that league. He scored 2 goals. He's on fire at the moment, Aaron Collins. So shout out to Bristol Rovers, because I've got a few mates from when I lived in Bristol who are probably absolutely loving that at the moment. Anyway, looking at other results, Swindon got into the playoffs by having a 1-0 win against Oldham. Oldham are still in the relegation zone with Scunthorpe. Looking at other games, Port Vale won 4-1, but they're still outside of the playoffs. Looking at some of the other teams, on the Friday night game, Tranmere had a sort of a crucial game against Mansfield. They had to win it to sort of stand a chance of either getting automatically promoted or staying in the playoff zone, and they won 3-2. But pretty much that's most of League Two. I'm going to slip in now, very quickly into my predictions for the midweek games, as I can see that I only have a few minutes before time runs out. We're looking at it now. On the Tuesday night,